Hello, and you thought I forgot this particular part, don't you? Anyway, welcome back to CookieRunOvenBreak once again with Alzray Galcon. Today, I'm going to show you the bloopers while I did the Technical License Challenge 11 and 12. Be glad that I actually edit this video out, because if I had not edited this video out, then the entire video will be 1 hour long. Anyway, if you do like this kind of content, then be sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe, and don't forget to ring the bell so you will not miss out on anything that I put on this channel. Everything is free, you don't need to pay, and by subscribing you make this channel grow and flourish even more, which makes me happy so I can create more content for you to watch. So, Technical License Challenge number 11. The idea of this Technical License Challenge is to use Muscle Cookie's power to its fullest potential. But trust me, this is much easier said than done. Now, you might have noticed that my version of Muscle Cookie is completely different compared to the original. That is because this is the costume, one of many costumes that Muscle Cookie have. This is warrior type. This is by far, so far at least, the most powerful costume that Muscle Cookie have. This costume isn't brand new. In fact, this was introduced way back in 2020 if I remember correctly. Let me take a look at my script, and yes, this was introduced in April 2020. This costume was released in the Dreamy Cookie Land update. That's the update where Cream Unicorn Cookie were introduced into the game for the very first time. So now I'm looking through at my script, and all I can see is nothing but white. And now I have around 14-15 minutes to talk something until we go on into the next part of this video. So yeah, let's talk about the coming updates. But first, I do want to mention something that I've come to realize for this year. It turns out that we don't have any TBD updates for this year. The fastest time that we could get a TBD update is at the end of this year for the December update, but I find it to be quite unlikely unless Devsisters decided to put a similar kind of update like the one with the Save the Future update. That's where String Gummy Cookie were introduced for the first time, as well as Timekeeper Cookie getting her own magic candy. I do wish that in the next update of TBD, we will have Maple Taffy Cookie as one of the playable characters. I do wish that in the next update, Maple Taffy is going to be a playable character. Possibly Twist Roll Cookie is going to be a playable cookie as well. Or maybe it's the turn for Dark Fondue Cookie to be a playable character. I mean, considering that Devsisters is about 20 cookies, that also includes cookies that we have no idea what the cookie look like, they have a lot of options into which cookies that they decide are going to be playable in the next TBD update. Now let's talk about the Grand Champions League, especially the Desert Preliminaries, because I've watched it and I want to discuss it. So if you do not want to hear what I say about the Grand Champions League, then you can skip all the way until this specific point in this video. So the Desert Preliminaries in the Grand Champions League, and wow, what a performance delivered by Chuang team. For most of the preliminaries, I thought that he is going to be the next Fire Spirit, because he is just unbeatable. But thankfully, Sick Duck, one of the tournament veterans, managed to put a stop on it despite losing the first 2 matches in the preliminaries, and I thought that Sick Duck was in trouble, but thankfully he managed to turn things around and managed to qualify as the champions for the desert region. So yeah, massive congratulations to Sick Duck, and what a great fight being given by Chuang team in the finals of the Desert Preliminaries. Also, shout out to the Caramel Shoe player. I do love your spirit, by the way. But yeah, overall, I don't know for you, but the groups are completely lopsided in terms of quality. Someone took note of all the competitors who are competing in the desert region, and it turns out that 4 of the top 10 players competing in the desert region, 3 of them ended up in Group A. Oh, sorry, I do want to make a correction. It turns out that someone not only took note of all the competitors who compete in the desert region, but that player also take note of all the players who compete in the Grand Champions League in all of the regions. But even if the quality is lopsided in terms of ranking, all of them did perform a great performance, even better than I could ever. Anyway, the Plains region, which is the region that will compete tomorrow, well, at least when I record this video, by the time you watch this video, it is most likely that the competition will move on into the Ocean region that will compete next week on the September 27th, and the Glacier region will compete the next day. Anyway, I'm getting too far ahead of myself. Now I will talk about the next region that is going to compete tomorrow, and that is the Plains region. And to be honest, I took a look at the participants and I have no idea who they are. It's not because they are not famous, but simply because I have no idea who they are. At least someone that I know how good they are by competing in the previous version of the Grand Champions League offline competition like this one in South Korea since the very start, or the kind of player that I know in the community. They have a really good reputation because they are really good at the game. People like Fire Spirit, Gojek Vanes, Yu, Boxigen, Zigdag, Destin, Fate, Misfortune, and so on and so on. In fact, there are so many other famous players that this video would probably not long enough to mention every single one of them. But yeah, good luck to all the runners who are still competing in the competition. You are going to need it. For those of you who are wondering which players do I support for each region, well, just like I said in the Plains region, I have no idea which players do I want to support. Simply because I don't have the emotional attachment to each of these players, at least not yet. Will they brought the kind of performance that brought them into this level of competition? Or maybe will they simply falls around and crashes a lot? Well, it's not impossible, the chances are never zero, but it is highly unlikely. Well, unless the strategy requires the player to crash into an obstacle or falling into the hole. And looking through the stages that Devsisters provide for this competition, that kind of move only guarantees certain defeat for the player who decided to execute that. But after saying that, I did see that some kind of maneuver like the one that I mentioned happened during the regional finals of the desert region. But yeah, most of the time, those kind of maneuvers only guarantee a certain defeat. So yeah, that concludes the Grand Champions League as of right now. So what other things that I can talk about for the next 7 to 8 minutes? Oh yes, let's talk about the new updates that are going to be in the game all the way until the end of the year. So based on the progress on the roadmap video that Devsisters made a couple of months ago, we now have 2 updates remaining that are going to arrive in this game. The first one is going to be the detective update. The last time a detective event was in the game, it was 2 years ago when Long the Shard cookie as well as Cappuccino cookie were introduced into the game. And if I remember correctly, that update it's called the Face the Trial update. Let me take a look. Oh yes, it was. And it will not be a detective update unless we can find a way to blame Angel Cookie for literally everything. It is basically a time-honored tradition at this point. Oh yes, I shall explain to those of you who are new to the game why we chose Angel Cookie every single time if there is a detective event that comes around the corner. You see, there is a reason why in the community we chose Angel Cookie every single time if there is a detective event that comes around the corner. It's because of this face. Look at that face, totally suspicious 100%. Trust no real fake, guys, come on. The perfect face for committing a crime. The perfect face to take the blame on every single crimes that ever been committed in CookieRun universe, ever. Anyway, back to the video for a moment. How many times I failed at this particular challenge? By my count, I've already failed like 10 or 11 times already at this one particular technical license challenge. Also, remember the first thing that I said on this video? If this video had not been edited out, then this video will take 1 hour. And 60% of the content from that 1 hour video is just basically me failing at this challenge. So what you've seen so far are the best highlights that I could give you, the kind of best effort that I did on this challenge, getting close to the required score, but unfortunately I wasn't close enough. And in some instances, close but no cigar. Now let's talk about the upcoming update for this game, Mystery on the SS Cargo. And now we have confirmation on one of the 2 characters that are going to be introduced in this update. And won't you take a look at that? A fine gentleman indeed. Looks like Eggnog Cookie and Almond Cookie got a brand new competitor. I could guarantee that this cookie is going to be really popular on Tumblr within the next couple of days. And judging by the design of the cookie, I will take a guess that this cookie's name is Steak Cookie, or maybe something specific like Steak Butter Cookie, or it could be like a specific cuts from a steak such as flank, tenderloin, sirloin, and so on and so on. Besides, that fine gentleman is not the only cookie that is going to be introduced in this update. Another character that is going to be introduced in this update, well, I have no idea what the name of the cookie yet. I will take a guess that the upcoming other cookie has a lot of wealth, judging by this particular picture based on the roadmap video that Devsisters did a couple of months ago. I am not going to lie, this cookie reminds me of Brie Cheese from CookieRun Oven Smash. At least based on the designs that we got so far. I would like to take a guess about that fine gentleman cookie, that the skill is going to be a destruction based type ones. I could imagine that this cookie is going to cut a lot of steaks during the cookie skill. As for the other cookie, I have absolutely no idea. I will take a guess that the cookie skill will going to be like the Shine Muscat cookie skill. I don't know. I genuinely don't know. I will take a guess that I will be 90% wrong on that one. But yeah, I cannot wait for those 2 cookies to be in action in the game and also in the event story. And right after that update, it is going to be the 9th anniversary update. Wow, I could not believe that this game would last this long. There are lots of cases where mobile games like this one didn't make it into the first 3 years. So to have a mobile game that lasts more than 5 years and on the way to its 10th anniversary is nothing but spectacular. In that update, we are, as usual, will receive 2 cookies. The first one isn't exactly brand new. In fact, this cookie is one of the most famous cookies in the CookieRun Kingdom community, and that is none other than Milky Way Cookie. Look at her, isn't she adorable? I will take a guess that her cookie skill is similar to Tiramisu cookie skill, but instead of Christmas theme, it is Galaxy theme. Because you know, both of them have skills that revolve around trains. and another cookie which I don't have any idea what the cookie is going to be. When I create this video, we still have no idea what the cookie's name and what the cookie look like, and so on and so on. And yeah, that's pretty much conclude every single update that we are going to get all the way until the end of the year. Last but not least, I do want to mention one final thing before we move on into the next part of this video. Devsisters, can we please bring back Survival Run? So for those of you who are new to this game and have no idea what I'm talking about, you can check that particular game mode by clicking the link at the top right of the screen. But long story short, it is basically CookieRun mixed with Fall Guys. That video which I covered about Survival Run, it was the second time ever that particular game mode exists in the game. And that was, what, 4 or 5 years ago when I covered that particular game mode? Ooh, time flies so fast, doesn't it? I still remember the day when I recorded that particular episode, not the narration part of course, but the actual gameplay. I was doing something in real life while trying to achieve the first ever victory that I got in that particular video. You know what, I've lost count just how many times I've failed at this particular stage, and you might probably be bored too. So let's just move on into the next part of this video. Now is the time for the bloopers in Technical License Challenge number 12. Or if you take a look at the game right now, it is currently Technical License Challenge number 6. And believe it or not, test number 3 is actually much harder compared to what I experienced in the final test. Simply because if you take a look at the top of the screen, you do realize that Hero Cookie doesn't have a lot of health. In fact, I would say that Hero Cookie has a minuscule amount of health. That is the trickiest bit in the entire test, because sometimes Hero Cookie doesn't have enough health to obtain the first potion. So how did I manage to obtain it in the first place? Well, it's all down to luck, basically. Unless you are really lucky executing the Hail Mary jump, there is no possibility you will get the potion itself. Even the first potion, that's not possible. Unless, well, like I say, you have to be really lucky executing the Hail Mary jump. Anyway, I do want to mention the scheduling for the next couple of videos. So the next video, it is going to be White Peach Cookies Trial, both in the Diamond rank, aka the normal difficulty, as well as in the hard difficulty, aka the Rainbow rank. Now, afterwards, it should be the beginning of the Legend Breakout map, the brand new one, as well as the Random Breakout Challenge video. However, considering that the next update will arrive within a couple of days' time, most likely the order of the video that will come out on this channel will be White Peach Cookies Trial in the Diamond rank as well as in the Rainbow rank. Then it will be the brand new cookie, which I have no idea what is the cookie going to be called, both in the Diamond rank as well as in the Rainbow rank. Then right afterwards, it is going to be the new quote-unquote brand new breakout map, and last but not least, it is going to be the Random Breakout Challenge. Oh yes, I should put a disclaimer here that what you are seeing is just like the previous part of this video. In fact, all of the recordings that you see right now in this particular Technical License Challenge happens 2 years ago. In those 2 years, I've grown up, I've played this game better, and funnily enough, when I did this particular Technical License Challenge for the first time in 2 years, I instantly aced it. I guess hard work pays off if you play this game long enough. Anyway, I still have one Technical License Challenge left to complete, and that is the Technical License Challenge number 13. And boy, this particular Technical License Challenge, it is brutal in terms of difficulty. To give you an idea just how brutal that particular Technical License Challenge, then you can watch this video provided by the official CookieRun YouTube channel, where our community manager, Micmac, gives it a go. And suffice to say, yeah, it was entertaining to say the least. not exactly entertaining when you're, playing the game. But yeah, Technical License Challenge number 13, possibly the hardest stage in the entire game that isn't Grand Champions League. Before I end about this talk about Technical License Challenge, I do have a question. Will Devsisters one day update the Technical License Challenge in the future? Probably, in my opinion, because there is one thing that the top players managed to do a really optimized run by deliberately falling into the abyss down below, or even sometimes crashing into obstacles. I know that sounds really weird for new players out there who play this game and think to yourself, wait a minute, you don't need to do a perfect run to get the perfect result? Well, in some cases, it is actually the correct answer. Sometimes the strategy requires the player to fall into a hole or crash into an obstacle, and that is a lesson that Technical License Challenge hasn't covered yet. But you know what? I would love to see the new players' reaction to that. After seeing that, they will probably think to themselves, well, how do we know where we need to fall or crash into an obstacle deliberately to get the most optimized perfect run? In short, we do a lot of experimenting to calculate the most perfect optimized run. And let me tell you, this experiment can last for hours. It also takes a lot of crystals or diamond, whichever you would like to call it. And the reason why it takes a lot of crystals or diamonds, it is because every 10 runs that you do, the cookie got exhausted and you need to restore the energy by using crystals or diamonds, whichever you would like to call it. Or you can wait for 2 real-life hours to do so. Thankfully, Technical License Challenge doesn't get affected by this rule, so you can try and beat the challenges as much as you would like. Last but not least, this rule does not apply if you run on Tuesday and Sunday, so you can run as much as your heart's content. However, there are 2 cookies that have an exception. Those 2 cookies are Mint Choco Cookie and Cheesecake Cookie. Those 2 cookies can only run 10 times before getting exhausted, and you need to use your crystals to make them refresh once again. Anyway, that is the end for this video. Thank you so much for watching. This is Alzroy signing it off, and I'll see you in the next videos. Take care, stay safe, and I'll catch you next time.